Hey there, and welcome. Today, we're going to dive into something pretty fascinating, an ancient map for well-being called the chakra system. But here's the twist. We're going to look at it through a totally modern lens and explore some surprising, and I mean really surprising, connections it has with today's science.
You know that feeling, right? When you just feel a little off. Not sick, just out of balance. Well, what if I told you there's a framework, thousands of years old, that was designed to make sense of that very feeling?
All right, let's get into it. We're going to start by exploring this map itself, the traditional chakra system. Now, this comes from ancient Indian spiritual traditions, and it describes this idea of a subtle energy body that exists right alongside our physical one. So, what exactly is a chakra? Well, the word is Sanskrit, and it literally means wheel or vortex. And that's the core idea. They're seen as these spinning wheels of vital energy called prana that basically help run the whole show, from our gut feelings to our biggest ideas. Here's the classic tour. There are 7 main chakras, all lined up along the spine. We start at the bottom with the root chakra, our foundation, all about feeling stable and grounded. Move up a bit, you've got the sacral chakra, which is the hub for creativity and emotion. Then comes the solar plexus, our center of personal power and confidence. Right in the middle is the heart chakra. No surprise, it's all about love and compassion. Then you've got the throat chakra for communication, the third eye right between the brows for intuition, and finally at the very top, the crown chakra, which is our connection to the bigger picture. Okay, but if this system is so old and foundational in some cultures, why does it sound so, out there to so many of us? Well, a big part of the answer has to do with the huge shift in how Western science started to look at the human body. This quote from Deepak Chopra just nails it. As modern medicine grew up, the focus zoomed in on things you could see, measure, and prove, even if they were microscopic germs. Stuff like life force energy, which you couldn't put under a microscope, kind of got left behind. And this timeline shows you exactly how it all went down. You've got Pasteur and his germ theory, then boom, X-rays let us see inside ourselves. Then you have the Curies figuring out radioactivity, and of course penicillin, the first magic bullet. All these incredible breakthroughs focused our attention on the physical, the chemical, and it was amazing. But it also meant that ideas about subtle energy got pushed over into the world of mysticism. And that brings us to the big question, right? The one we're really digging into today. Is this ancient map of the chakras just a really powerful metaphor for psychology? Or could there actually be something more to it? Something real that we're only now starting to understand with our modern tools? So let's go there, because this is where things get really, really interesting. It turns out modern science is uncovering some clues that give us a whole new language to talk about these old ideas. And it all begins with a simple fact. Our bodies are electric. There's this whole field called bioelectromagnetics, and it basically studies how energy fields and living things interact. And its findings are clear. We are fundamentally electrical beings. Our nerves fire with electricity, our hearts beat because of an electrical pulse. We are buzzing with energy. And if you think that's cool, it gets even wilder. Scientists have discovered these things called biophotons. What are they? They are tiny, tiny emissions of light, actual photons, coming from our living cells. It means, and I'm not making this up, that our bodies literally produce and communicate with light. We glow. Now get this. Research has pointed to our very own DNA as a major source of these biophotons. And this isn't just some random waste product. This light seems to form a super fast information network inside and around our cells. This diagram kind of breaks it down for us. You can see how energy from our food gets processed in the cell, and then our DNA emits these biophotons. It creates this high-speed data network that helps organize everything happening inside us. It's almost like our bodies have their own biological Wi-Fi system. So, let's put the pieces together. If our bodies are bioelectric and our cells are talking to each other with light, and ancient traditions described a system of energy centers, you have to wonder, right? Have any of our modern therapies accidentally stumbled onto the same map? Well, the answer seems to be a resounding yes. Let's look at one really fascinating therapy that, without even trying to, seems to have rediscovered some of these ancient principles all on its own through modern clinical research. Okay, just look at this comparison. It's kind of mind-blowing. On one side, you've got the ancient chakra system with its 7 energy centers and their associated colors. And on the other, you have a modern form of psychotherapy called emotional transformation therapy, or ETT. The parallels are just incredible. ETT independently discovered that using specific colors of light aimed at locations that just so happen to line up with the chakras can have a profound and rapid effect on our emotional state. It's this amazing convergence of ancient intuition and modern science. So what does this all mean? Look, this isn't about trying to prove that ancient traditions were right all along. It's something much cooler than that. What we're seeing is a synthesis, a powerful coming together of different ways of knowing, from different times and different cultures. And this isn't just a fringe idea either. This is now being encouraged at the highest levels. This quote is from a recent World Health Organization summit. They're actively pushing for science and technology to be used to explore and validate traditional medicine. They want to build that bridge. So maybe the biggest takeaway from all of this is a new perspective on what it means to heal. Maybe the goal isn't to get to some kind of fixed, perfectly balanced state and stay there forever. Maybe it's more about embracing the flow, learning to be okay with transformation, and getting better at gently rebalancing our inner world as life happens. And that leaves us with one final big question to ponder. If modern science is just now developing the language with things like biophotons and bioelectric fields to describe what ancient traditions might have sensed for centuries, it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other ancient wisdom is out there, just waiting for us to find the right tools to see it again?